Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 4 of the anime series Roka no Yusha. And I have to say, this episode had me on the edge of my seat all throughout. I mean, I was, gritted teeth, just excited beyond reproach, because, of course, we're picking up right where we left off. In the heat of this confrontation between, of course, Adlet, Flamey, Nashitania, and Goldov, they believing she is the brave killer, and we're kind of like still hanging on from that question of last week's episode. Why is that and everything? As a quick aside, let me go ahead and point out that the names are being spelled once again Flamey and Goldov with a V and everything like that. And I actually had a commenter on my previous video pointing out to me that these are incorrect. The correct spellings were actually what we saw in the first two episodes, Fremy, Goldov with an F, and I don't know exactly why they were changed. My own suspicion is that it was like these are westernized versions just to make sense of the sound of, what you hear them speaking when they say the names, because of the Japanese RL thing, Fremy rather than Flamey, and vice versa, So I guess that's probably why it was changed. I will still be referring to them as what we see on screen in this episode, Flamey, Goldov with a V, and so forth. And onward we go, essentially. But no, as I say, this episode just, as soon as we open up on this whole confrontation, the bomb drop of the fact that Flamey actually admits to, doing this. She's killed these other Braves. Not all of them, mind you. There's a few that she doesn't actually know about, she doesn't have a hand in. But she does admit to killing like 3 of the, whatever it is, 4 or 5 that have been killed and or subsequently gone missing. And the whole purpose she brings this about when confronted by Adlet is because she was trying to revive the demon god. WTF, it's like I was gobsmacked. I was struck by lightning by this revelation. Why? Why would she be doing this? Was she actually for the purposes of evil? Was there, wanting to bring about the demon god maybe earlier than intended? Maybe there's like a sort of calendar date as far as when he's supposed to return, and if all these Braves are taken out sooner, maybe his powers will not be at their peak and it'll be easier to take him down. Or was it simply that she was actually trying to, maybe she was a demon worshiper, a worshiper of the demon god? I don't know exactly, and I hope we get a little more information about this at some point. But the fact that she just, plain-facedly admits to the fact, yes, I killed these other Braves, and the whole idea was to take down the strongest of them so that the weak would come together to help the demon god return. It's like, yike. And here we still have Adlet. In the face of this revelation, he's still willing to risk his own life against Goldov and Nashitania to preserve hers and try to understand the situation, I guess. So, of course, they are on their journey, and basically they see there are these like dragon-esque flying fiends all over the place, and they come under the attack. And it was very intriguing to me. I did not know that fiends could actually speak. And you had this one fiend say like, they're here, surround them, or whatever it is. And that gave me chills, because it was like, oh crap, is somebody manipulating these creatures, or are they capable of actually doing that? Speaking and a leader amongst the pack to surround and attack the heroes. And you have Nashitania who's telling, Adlet, go forward, get to that temple, get the barrier figured out, whatever it is. And of course, he gets there and he's like duped into, and I was right along with him. I'm like, oh God, somebody was here tearing ass through the place, and maybe it's not going to work. Maybe this was one of the 6 Braves. The woman he finds laying down, sprawled on the ground. There's no key. How are we going to get inside? And then these 2, like, suits of armor, almost like reminded me actually of Full Metal Alchemist. They come running out, charging out, and he battles them. There's nothing inside them. He gets inside this place, and of course, finally, Goldov, Nashitania, and Flamey, they end up catching up to him. And the barrier is up. And, for all intents and purposes, like what they were told by the soldier Lauren, whoever activates it is potentially going to be left behind. And now here they all are, stuck in this place. They can't shut it off. And we have Nashitania just having a meltdown. And again, it's like, WTF. There were so many, sort of lefts and right turns in the story and the characterization in this episode that just didn't make sense to me and floored me. When we see her losing and she's stabbing at all of these different, pedestals with this weapon, trying to break the barrier down again. It's like, well, on the one hand, why was she having a breakdown? Is it just because she was afraid of being trapped there? Could it be that, people's speculations that she is the fake amongst the, Braves of the Six Flowers? Could that have any reason to do with why she was trying to destroy the barrier? Who knows? But suffice to say, then we are introduced to, 3 more of the basically Braves, making it even 7. But you have Shamo Rosso, this little girl who very much reminded me of a character out of Final Fantasy IX. Aiko, I think the character was in that game, being very ominous. And she's doing the third person thing where she's referring to herself like as her name, I'm Johnny, and I would be saying, hey, Johnny thinks this, very odd. And she's got like this cat o' nine tail or whatever it is that she's going to chew, and of course Nashtania stops her and she ominously looks at her and says, why are you getting in my way? Because at that point she's trying to attack Flamey. Everybody wants to kill Flamey, the brave killer. Of course, you have Mora Chester come in, and yes, she does. She does have. But she's like lording over Shamo, and we don't really know what's up with these characters yet. But of course she's the first to ask, what's going on here? We seem to have an extra person, because then of course Hans Humpty comes in. I love that name. And actually it reminded me sort of similarly to the just very funny aspect of a name like Hampney Hambert from the series Kamisama no Inai Nichiyubi, or Sunday Without God. I remember having a few chuckles about that name, because at first they had misspelled it to Humpney Hambert or whatever. And so, I don't know if there's any relation to that. I just think it's funny, similar titled series, Sunday Without God, Braves of the Six Flowers, dealing with gods and everything. But I digress. Of course, he comes in and he's sort of the snarky, really high-pitched, he is, among all of them, the one that rubs me the worst, as far as like, I don't like the way his character seems to be, but that doesn't necessarily amount to anything in the grand scheme of things. Basically we leave off with this cliffhanger, after having this fight amongst themselves and then having these fiends crop up that they then had to fight, creating this fog barrier. Now everybody is stuck within it, and we have 7 of the 6 Braves. So it makes no sense. It's like somebody here has to be fake, and we leave off with that question. Now, my own speculations, a lot of people really are talking about Nashtania, and as I was speaking with one of my viewers in a previous, episode discussion video in the comments, I feel like Nashtania is somewhat of a red herring. I feel like she seems the most obvious for her wanting to escape this enclosed, royalty lifestyle. She meets Adlet. She's wowed by him. In the first episode, she disguises herself as a maid so she can go interact with him. Somebody who can bring her to the outside, free her. And we see a lot of that sort of unnerved feelings, emotions going on between Goldoff and Adlet, because of course Goldoff wants to understand, what is it about Adlet that Nashtania sees in him? Why does she feel she can so trust him and is won over so easily by him? And there's going to be conflict there. There's conflict, of course, between Nashtania being jealous that Adlet is so gung-ho for Flamey and everything. She's a pretty girl, everything that she said in the episode. But I feel like Nashtania is such the easiest thing to think of when you're thinking of who is the fake. There are so many different reasons you could come up with. And I found myself in this particular episode, by the time this episode was done, really speculating toward Adlet being the fake. Not knowingly, not like he is working for the demon god, but suddenly I began to suspect, with how much sort of excitement, that was befilled in Nashtania for having met Adlet, and how interesting he appears to her, and all this kind of stuff. She's drawn to him. She feels like she can trust him. She believes in him, whatever it is. Is there any chance that she utilized her own power to create a fake branding of the Six Flowers on him to have an excuse to help him escape and to travel with him. Whether it's because she felt like he would be the saving grace of the group, he would be the sort of moral center, he would be the conscience. As we see, he is the one keeping everyone else from sort of fighting and jumping onto Flamey and everything like that. He is very much that role. And I began to wonder and suspect, could that explosive energy we saw that seemed to deposit upon his hand the crest of the 6 flowers, could this have been a ruse, drawn out by Nasha Tanya just because she wanted to have someone she knew she could trust, or she knew she could have more trust in than everyone else that was going to be involved? I don't know. This is just my speculation. Adlet is the only one thus far, and really we only have just been introduced to, Shamo, Mora, and Hans respectively, but presumably we will see them with powers of some type. I mean, Shamo is said to be the Saint of Swamps, and of course we have the Saint of Gunpowder, and Saint of Swords, or whatever it is. All these women seem to be saints. Presumably they all have powers of some type that we will see. And as I say, even with like Goldov, you could argue that, his prowess is a level of powers. Adlet is the only one that we have seen no powers whatsoever. He keeps calling himself the strongest man in the world, and he has all these nice little weaponized tricks and things that he's created, kind of the MacGyver of weaponry to get out of situations, and best fiends and all this kind of stuff. Explode open the, chamber doors to where this whole setup is with the fog barrier. So he has all these things, but he doesn't have any magic abilities or powers that we're so far aware of. And that again speaks to the idea, well, he might not be the genuine article. He might be there just at the whim of Nasha Tanya, who felt, it could be anything from that she was just excited to have somebody along for the ride, like Adlet, because she was so impressed by him and enamored with him. Or it could be something along the lines of, she didn't know who she could trust in this framework. And there would have to be a moral center and a unification center in this whole group coming together. And Adlet, maybe she perceived that, from right off the bat, from meeting him, that he was a go-getter. He was, he wasn't full of himself. He wasn't selfish in any sense of the word, even though he did, crash the party in episode 1 and he got arrested for it. And he wanted to be, one of the 6 Braves. But the thing is, like, he's not doing things with self goals in mind. He actually is gung-ho about saving the world, defeating the demon god if they have to, and utilizing the entirety of the group, bringing the group together to do so. And for that, I feel like maybe he is the false one among them. Of course, that's a very interesting idea. Which is the false of these 7 Braves? The false 7th, if you will. And that doesn't necessarily have to translate that somebody is, implanted by the demon god to try to usurp, whatever powers they can bring together against him, or bring that down before they can attack him successfully and defeat him successfully. It's not necessarily the demon god's doing, is what I'm saying. We haven't explicitly been told that the demon god sent somebody to, mess up the group or whatever. It could be something entirely different, flipped on its ear, as far as amounting to one of these characters not being the genuine article. Now, of course, there's still also the aspect that one of these other characters, maybe it's Hans Humpty himself, with that very malevolent and just asinine laughter, laughing at everything and being very ominous in his appearance. I don't think it would be Shamo, but I could be wrong. She is the child, so there's that aspect, being sort of irregular to the rest of the group in age and everything. It's going to be really interesting to see. Obviously, I'm talking a lot more about the speculations than the actual episode. Really, that's just a, perfect soliloquy to how excited this episode got me. It was just an awesome kick-ass episode and drew me in and has me speculating like crazy about what's going to happen next. And I can't wait to find out in the next episode. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 4 of Rokka no Yusha, if you've seen it, what your own speculations are as to who the false 7th of these 6 Braves might be. How you're liking this particular episode, how you're liking the series thus far, and if you're not, why not? Anything goes in the comments below. Love having the conversation with you guys. And so, yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.